We emerge into this incarnation not as blank slates, but as intricate tapestries continually rewoven by each new experience we encounter. From the earliest moments, we are profoundly shaped by circumstances both within and far outside our control, our lineage, our upbringings, our fortunes, and our misfortunes. These formative exposures indelibly influence our beliefs, behaviors, and visions of what constitutes reality itself. Yet the enlightened Stoic recognizes that while we cannot dictate the molecular composition of our experiences, we retain the sacred power of subjectively assigning meaning to them through our reasoned perspectives. We are not inescapably defined by what happens to us, but by our philosophical interpretations of what happens. It is this quintessential human faculty that beckons us to continually strive for wisdom and self-mastery. Before we begin, I would appreciate your support. Don't forget to click like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any posts. If you like the theme of this video, please comment +1, and if you don't like it, then comment 0. We look forward to hearing your feedback. Fact number 1. Everyone is shaped by their experiences. We cannot control the circumstances and events we encounter in this world. From childhood, a multitude of experiences beyond our choice impacts us. Our background, upbringing, relationships, fortunes, and misfortunes. Do not make the folly, however, of believing your current state is defined solely by what has happened to you up until now. The experiences themselves do not determine who you are. It is how you see them, interpret them, and consciously decide to respond that molds your identity and your character. Two people can face near identical circumstances, yet one may break while the other remains unperturbed. Why? Because one has the wisdom to distinguish what is within their control versus forces external to them. Imagine two students taking an extremely difficult exam. Though the experience is shared between them, one may become anxious, frustrated, and despondent about the struggle. The other remain calm, focused purely on answering each question as best they can with the knowledge they have diligently prepared. This second student understands that being upset about the difficulty of the test serves no value. It is outside their control. They invest energy solely into their reasoned responses. Do not be at the mercy of your experiences, for you have the incredible capacity as a human being to thoughtfully choose your perspective and actions in relation to them. Your experiences' inbox may be overflowing, yet you determine how to process that inbox in alignment with reason, virtue, and wisdom. What experiences from your past are you still holding on to that do not serve your best self? Let them go and pivot your focus to responding with intention to the present. Seek first to understand the profound experiences of others with empathy and an open mind. This is the path to living with fulfillment, resilience, and the ability to turn any circumstance into an opportunity for growth and service to humanity. How will you respond to your next experience? Fact number 2. Diverse communication styles. We are all uniquely shaped by the circumstances of our upbringing, experiences, and inherent tendencies. Is it any wonder, then, that we each develop distinct preferences for how we convey and receive information? Some speak with impassioned candor, others with reserved practicality. A few require depth and detail, many prioritize brevity. The variation in communication styles is as endless as the boundless sea. Yet the thoughtful person does not judge these differences as right or wrong, but simply recognizes them as natural variations to navigate with poise. Lamentably, so many misunderstandings and petty conflicts arise when we project our own communication leanings as the sole proper way, and discount those of others as flaws to be corrected. This arrogant rigidity only breeds confusion and alienation. The wise seeker of tranquility and strong relationships embraces an open, malleable mindset. Make a steady effort to discern each individual's unique communication patterns. Does this person err toward the bold and expressive, or do they appreciate understatement and prudent timing? Are they energized by spirited debates, or do they prefer structured discourse? An enlightened approach aims to join the other where they reside communicatively. I've known fiery youths who mistook my reserved manner as aloofness until I mirrored their intensity, and cerebral elders who warmed to me once I engaged them with methodical arguments. Each encounter is a chance to practice adaptability in how you exchange thoughts, feelings, and ideas with others. Do not inflexibly impose your style, lest it fall on deaf ears. Observe their cadence, diction, and energy attunement. The ancient Stoics were students of human behavior and psychology long before such formal terms existed. Those who achieved interpersonal mastery discovered ways to blend delivery and dialect to best relate, uplift, and connect with any communion's unique communication fingerprint. Approaching diversity and expression with receptive curiosity rather than judgment is how true understanding blossoms between any two beings. What inspires and alienates depends on how consciously we accommodate the discrete communication dances of each soul we encounter along this journey of life. Will you let the beauty of our idiosyncratic expression divide or unite? Fact number 3. Varied responses to stress. Stress, like winter's chill or summer's swelter, is an inescapable force of the natural world we inhabit. Yet just as some nestle fireside at the first frost, while others revel in winter's frosty delights, our reactions to difficulty diverge greatly. One person may wither under minor burdens, fatigue rapidly setting in. For another, even the most daunting challenges are embraced with resilient indefatigability. Where do these stark contrasts in stress response arise from? The Stoics taught that our perceptions, beliefs, and judgment about events, more than the events themselves, shape whether we view them as burdensome or manageable. By grasping the profound truth that we cannot always control external circumstances, yet always retain command over our reasoned inner responses, we open the gate to tranquility. To witness two individuals facing the same professional setback, one ruminating endlessly in despair, the other calmly formulating their next judicious actions, is to observe the incredible power of cultivating a Stoic mindset. Those who invest their focus not in vain railing against what they cannot change, but in steeling their mind's responsiveness, develop reservoirs of tenacity. The wise leader does not castigate those who struggle with anxiety or despondence in the face of difficulty. Rather, with an empathic understanding of our natural human variety and stress response, they provide a nurturing environment to guide each person toward greater resilience. Through Stoic practices of negative visualization, fatalistic relinquishing of externals, and separating initiating forces from our reactions to them, we strengthen our philosophical physique. When gale winds of misfortune inevitably blow upon your personal and professional life, where will you source your energy? Will you flail against their unrelenting squalls until exhaustion? Or, having studied the diverse ways we each respond to stress, will you call upon the reasoned power that separates true misfortune from imagined? Build your Stoic resilience with diligent practice, extend compassion to others' varied stress responses, and clear the path to lead a life of sublime equanimity. Fact number 4. Inherent judgment. In this frenetic, sensory-overloaded world, our minds instinctively seek cognitive shortcuts to make sense of the profusion of people, behaviors, and situations we encounter. We categorize, assume, and stereotype, passing split-second verdicts based on mere surface impressions. This injudicious habit, while natural, breeds immense personal and societal folly if left unbridled. The person walking by, mumbling to themselves, eccentric or preoccupied thinker, the unfamiliar cultural dress or custom, a threat or opportunity for mutual learning, the brusque salesperson, rude or having an off moment. Our harried brains make rash calls daily with fragmented evidence. Yet this sparks unfair prejudices, precludes deeper understanding, and suffocates growth. The Stoics implored us to govern such impulsive judgments, as our philosophies so often conflict with reason. Before defensive reactivity hardens into ossified perspectives, we must pause, check that instinctive rush to categorize the other, and purposefully retain an open posture of discernment. For is not each person a boundless universe unto themselves, rich with context, nuance, and depth far beyond what initial impressions reveal? Just as the cosmos's true scale and mysteries can never be encapsulated in our peripheral glimpses, so too do our snap judgments fail to grasp the full human reality before us. Through the judicious application of logic and suspending hasty conclusions, we give wise inquiry its deserved scope. When that mumbling person is approached with inquisitive empathy rather than scorn, perhaps their eccentric musings contain profound insights. The cultural unknown, when we withhold reflexive xenophobia, bears gifts of expansive wisdom. The seeming brusqueness, when assumptions don't petrify, unexpectedly appears as candor from a trusted soul, offering needed truth. In summarily judging the mere book covers, we neglect to appreciate the literary masterworks within. In what areas of your own life have you fallen captive to superficial snap judgments, prematurely solidifying your view? What miracles of greater understanding might await should you commit to a Stoic practice of intellectual humility, suspending that impulsive first reaction long enough for the ever-unfolding truth to gradually reveal itself? Approach each soul as the boundless universe it is. Fact number 5. Universal insecurities. Behind even the most confident visages, lingering doubts and inner vulnerabilities reside within us all. The youth outwardly portraying bravado fears they don't measure up. The professionals wrestle with pangs of imposter syndrome amid their accomplishments. The romantic partner masked by surety harbors anxieties about being truly seen and accepted. Insecurity is the secret lens through which we each, to varying degrees, interpret our self-worth and experience this earthly journey. Yet the Stoics recognized this was an inherent part of the human experience, not a weakness to be derided or suppressed. For one cannot eliminate emotions and instinctive psychic pains through brutal force. They merely transmute into other afflictions. The enlightened path forward lies in developing an objective perspective, challenging our irrational belief systems and desires that undergird insecurity. Why do we fear being exposed as flawed or inadequate? Because we've invested misguided values in always appearing perfect, dominant, or in control. Judgments stemming from the unhealthy ego. The Stoics taught that by realigning our core values with higher virtues, wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation, we gradually realize that true self-worth has no dependency on tenuous externals. Our perception of self shifts from superficial trappings to the eternal wellspring of our divine human reason. When we intimately grasp that we all share the same fundamental insecurities, it kindles profound empathy, compassion, and connection. The masks and veneers we've hidden behind melt away. We see each other, stripped back to the same vulnerable human essentials. The judgmental voices quieten as our philosophical objectivity guides us to embrace our imperfections and appreciate our common condition without shame. Fact number 6. Self-interest in relationships. We enter this existence imagining connections built on pure virtue, unconditional care, sacrificial giving, and aligned purposes. Yet even the noblest unions eventually reveal our innate human shortcomings as self-interest, no matter how subconscious or well-intended, seeps in. A partner prioritizing career over family time. A friendship becomes lopsided, with one giving more than received. The insidious gravitational pull of ego perpetually tests the strength of our relational ties. The Stoics were students of human fallibility long before modern psychology coined the term. We recognize that although our higher reasoning guides us toward altruism, our baser instincts of self-preservation, desire, and insecurity frequently hold sway. Even professed sages and luminaries fell victim to petty impulses tarnishing their principles. This is not to resign ourselves to crass self-obsession, however. Quite the opposite. The Stoics saw our acknowledgement of self-interest's pervading patterns as a radical opportunity to reorient our conduct. By clearly seeing the reality of human nature's push-pull between individual and collective priorities, we develop the wisdom to lead more purposefully. When I recognize the human tendency in myself to occasionally lapse into selfishness over service, I become empowered to make more conscious choices. Will I react defensively when a loved one's criticism bruises my ego? Or will I objectively examine if the critique holds truth that I should gratefully incorporate? In my most cherished relationships, I pause before acting solely from self-interest, striving to respond with compassion, patience, and care for our shared benefit over any temporary personal need. Certainly, open and respectful communication is paramount to realigning priorities. By voicing our needs directly yet sensitively, without accusation or judgment, we allow others to recognize their blind self-interest. More powerfully, our embodied example serves as an inspirational model, kindling that same spirit of consideration in others. The Stoics knew our journey toward harmonious relationships would never be perfected, for we are innately human. Yet by diligently working to acknowledge selfish impulses with radiant self-awareness, we reaffirm our bonds through leading with virtue. Fact number 7. Projection of thoughts and feelings. We, humans, are masterful sculptors, chiseling elaborate narratives from the clay of our subjective perceptions, then mistaking these conceptual idols as immutable truths. When unquestioned and unexamined, this penchant for projection alienates, obstructs understanding and sabotages communication at every turn. After all, how can we hope to genuinely connect when unconsciously interacting with fantastical reflected images rather than the reality before us? This is where the ancient Stoics provide an invaluable remedy, the rigorous, ongoing practice of self-reflected logic and questioning our hasty judgments. Through disciplined self-awareness, we incrementally train ourselves to recognize the inceptive pangs of projection as they arise, that accusatory voice taking shape in our mind. Could this be tainted by our own unprocessed traumas rather than impartial fact? The narratives we craft about someone's intentions, might these tales merely be subconscious defense mechanisms shielding us from confronting our own shadows? With philosophical equanimity and the courage of self-honesty, we disassemble the filters warping our view, distinguishing accurate from distorted perception. We become open to listening without assumption, seeking to understand the other's purest truth rather than reflexively overlaying our own biases. From this place of panoramic objectivity, our words and deeds in every interaction ring with authenticity. Where, in your own life, have you fallen under the spell of projected phantoms? What boogeymen still linger to be exorcised by your discerning Stoic awareness? Foster the wisdom to recognize when you are witnessing reality versus an unacknowledged subconscious drama of your own creation. In that clarity, you cultivate the capacity for true understanding between any two souls. Fact number 8. Differing values. Just as nature manifests infinite diversity across all living species, so too do the values that guide our individual behavior and priorities emerge from a wide spectrum. What one holds sacred, another may disregard. The spiritual seeker prioritizes contemplation, while the entrepreneur chases accomplishment. Ethics of loyalty may reign supreme in one culture, yet be overshadowed by individualism in another. This kaleidoscope of values is inevitable. We are each shaped by our native philosophies, environmental exposures, and unique minds. The unrefined ego looks outward at contrasting values and recoils in judgment. How can they believe that? They must be wrong. However, the mature Stoic recognizes that no single value system possesses a monopoly on truth. They are transient constructs, personal philosophical frameworks colored by the limitations of our subjective experiences, not infallible axioms. To adopt a stance respectfully acknowledging the diversity of human values is not to resign ourselves to moral relativism. Certainly some values should be challenged when they enable cruelty, oppression, or willfully blind us from reason. The Stoics simply understood that ethically persuading others required first relating to their operative value lenses before any common ground could be established. The wise leader suspends their own judgments long enough to thoughtfully inquire about the origins and utilities driving someone else's values. They ask clarifying questions, listen with an open mind, and seek to understand the entire philosophical context, informing another's beliefs and behaviors, not merely cherry-picking fragments to confirm dismissiveness. Through this compassionate patience, greater potential for mutual appreciation and conflict resolution arises. When we attune ourselves to the root values orienting those around us, we exponentially expand our effectiveness as messengers, negotiators, and problem solvers, able to artfully navigate humanity's rich axiology. Creative solutions, honoring all parties' sacred priorities, become illuminated. Progress is achieved through an honored meeting of differing values, not their stubbornly entrenched conflict. Fact number 9. Motivational differences. When we look upon the actions of others through an unexamined lens, it is all too easy to project our own motivations as universal. How could they not be driven by the same goals, fears, and desires that propel me? We ponder in befuddlement. Yet the reality is that every person is an amazingly complex tapestry, woven together by the singular threads of their innate personalities, life experiences, circumstances, and chosen philosophies. The hard-charging entrepreneur is not driven solely by ambition and wealth acquisition, but perhaps more fundamentally by the need for creative expression, legacy establishment, or proving self-worth. The contented hobbyist may appear lackadaisical from the high achiever's perspective, yet their fulfillment stems from harmony, simplicity, and freedom rather than conventional notions of productive output. Even outright unvirtuous conduct, when explored with the objectivity of a Stoic's rational scrutiny, often reveals complicated motivations of overcompensation, escapism, or misguided coping patterns beneath the surface. The philosophically ignorant, upon encountering markedly different behaviors than their own, too quickly resort to dismissive judgment and criticism. Not so for the Stoics, who recognized that developing true wisdom and ethical influence requires diligently studying the diverse motivational signatures driving those around us. By extending patient curiosity rather than scorn, we create opportunities to transcend our subjective blind spots. What have you assumed about the motivations of others that may reveal itself as a mere projection upon closer examination? The masterful leader withholds forming premature conclusions, initiating a spirit of open-minded inquiry. What core values, experiences, or unmet needs are influencing this person's priorities? Only by approaching from this posture of non-judgmental seeking to understand, we collaboratively navigate toward purposeful cooperation. When we take the time to compassionately understand the why underneath each individual's actions and strivings, opportunities for synergistic union emerge. We discover how to cater to our language, incentives, and collaborative approach to harmonize with their deepest driving forces, not simply demand their discount rate conformance to our own motivations. This is the path toward not only improving our skills in group dynamics, but continually evolving as more self-actualized humans ourselves. Will you look beyond the superficial today and beckon the profound motivational diversity within those around you? Fact number 10. The power of empathy and understanding. In this grand cosmic drama, we are all flawed protagonists struggling to navigate the constraints and liberations of our existence. Yet so often, rather than extending empathic solidarity, we callously cast others as misguided antagonists to be defeated rather than understood and embraced. We judge harshly from our isolating vantage point, blind to the intricacies of their lived experiences, motivations, and perspectives shaping their internal narratives and external conduct. The ancient Stoics championed a radically transcendent remedy, cultivating panoramic self-awareness that exponentially fosters authentic interpersonal understanding and connection. How can we ever hope to deeply resonate with the struggles of another if we lack lucid self-insight into our own internal forces that contour our attitudes, behaviors, and sense of identity? Through diligent Stoic self-analysis and objectivity purification, stripping away the ego's myopic self-cherishing through reason and introspection, we blaze a trail of radical self-honesty. We gain clarity into previously obstructed aspects of our own psychologies, stories, shadow selves, and blind spots. Gradually, we forge an unsparing alignment between our internalized sense of identity and our actions. A resonant authenticity emerges. It is only once we've illuminated our self-examined interiors that we awaken the vital ability to perceive others through an uncommonly empathetic lens. The transparent window, born of our own authenticity, allows translucent understanding into the seemingly inscrutable actions and struggles of those around us. We begin to subconsciously resonate with their unique interior storylines, creating bonds of compassionate kinship. From this place of heightened mindfulness, communicating with anyone, whether family, friend, colleague, or seeming other, transforms from transaction-oriented rhetorical gaming into an honorable choreography of openly exchanging underlying philosophies, worldviews, and existential quandaries. Not a battle of opposing values, but a curious dance of gestalt co-understanding and collaborative sense-making. We have illuminated how our diversity of perspectives, values, experiences, and inner philosophies all converge to manifest the uniquely nuanced realities we each inhabit. From our varied stress responses and inherent judgments to our insecurities, communication styles, and motivations, these all shape the intricate lenses through which we interpret ourselves, others, and the nature of existence itself. The ancient Stoics provided profound wisdom for not only accepting these multifarious elements of the human condition with respectful understanding, but leveraging that insight to continually transcend our limiting prejudices and tendencies. Through diligent self-study, objectivity, and authenticity, we open our hearts to receive the empowering gifts of panoramic perspective and compassionate attunement. As your journey progressing along the Stoic path continues, I invite you to integrate these revelations into your daily conduct and interactions. Let them serve as a compass guiding you toward deeper self-actualization, more harmonious connections, and a refreshing vision of our shared, beautifully diverse reality. If you found value in this discourse, I encourage you to spread its teachings further by providing a like, sharing it with others who may benefit, commenting on your own insights below, and subscribing to this channel for more enriching philosophic content. For it is in communally advancing our collective understanding that we uplift all human potential,